C2 Wrestling Podcast. The boys are back. We're back. CTD and Snowden. Smiling ear to ear. Happy holidays, everybody. Plenty to talk about, but more specifically, someone to talk about. It's a great day here at C2 Wrestling. It's a bit of a celebration. It's a bit of a shut your mouth and appreciate type episode. So we'll get into it all, as you can tell by my shirt, what's about to come here. But before we get into it, before we talk about Cena, before we talk about the greatest of all time, Gunther, Snowden, how you doing today?
I am doing a-okay. Been looking forward to this pod more than usual because of what we get to talk about this time around. There was a lot of talking about this topic leading in to last week's Saturday Night Main Event, but now that the event is over and what has happened, there's a lot more to talk about. For good or for bad, but for C2 Wrestling and the fans out there of C2 Wrestling, you guys all know this is a Gunther Stan account. And in no way will we be taking any flack on Gunther's name. We're going to get into all of it, but I'm going to turn the question back to you. How is CTD doing?
If I'm being honest, shit day. I've had a lot go wrong today. It's been a mess. Uh, Not to derail us too much, but I've told you about these UFC little figurine things,
hmm
and there's one guy I want, my favorite fighter, Dricus Duplessis, and I've bought what you
Did
what
the
you
the DDP.
oh
Yeah.
uh I've bought plenty, haven't gotten them. Today I went back to Target, like I'm buying three more, I'm getting them today.
Yeah.
I did not. I got two duplicates and one that I didn't have. I got so fed up that I went onto eBay and I just bought a lot that has him in it and has like pretty much the other people that I need. I'm like, I have to just do this
Can't
because
stop. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
10 bucks each. So I bought a lot that was like five or six of them for like 40 bucks. So
Mhm.
actually kind of saved money because I've already gotten four duplicates.
Yeah.
That's $40 right there. I'm like, I got to put an end to this. This
Yeah.
needs to stop right now. I'm buying a lot, 40 bucks. That's it. I'm not buying any more. This is gambling. I know it's an addiction. I'm stopping right now. So when I get that in the mail, I'll feel a lot better. But besides that, rough day.
Rough day. Yeah. I'm a little tired. A little tired today. I don't know. Fatigued, but it's okay. We're going to get through it. $40 though. I mean, that definitely sucks, but you're still up from that one of one rock card you got a couple
Yeah,
months back. So,
that is very true.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is very
doing
true.
just okay in that sense of gambling, if we'll put it that way. But there is, again, we could ramble about all the nonsense in the world like we tend to do in this pod, but there is a couple of topics to get into today. So I do think we should maybe start with those topics. And the most glaring one, again, we've already done the pose. You're wearing the t-shirt. Our boy Gunther retires John Cena.
The
I
comedic
can't.
genius.
I can't get over that clip. The only thing better than Gunther retiring John Cena was maybe the opening segment of Monday Night Raw. Him coming out to the crowd. I made John Cena tap like a little bitch. And he didn't say it once, he said it more than once. And then the little backstage segment with Styles, man, was cracking me up. All his posts on social media have been great. Everything about this is exactly what we've wanted out of the end of John Cena's retirement tour. I'm not going to say the entirety of it because obviously we don't even have to talk about it at this point. It's clear as day a lot of it could have been done differently and better. But at the end of it, that final match especially, chef's kiss. What more could you have done?
I just am not even slightly surprised at the amount of complaints because we've said it. No matter what happens, no matter how they did it, there's going to be a complaint. There's going to be some sort of vocal minority or majority that doesn't like what they do. If Gunther loses that match, there's going to be a loud group of people that's going to be like, why'd they even do a tournament? Why'd they have Cena lose his second to last match and then he wins his last match and that person isn't elevated? Like, there's always going to be someone. For instance, Gunther gets the match. Why was it Gunther? Why wasn't it a young person? Why wasn't it LA Knight? Why didn't they make someone turn heel and have that person face Cena? All these things. I'm watching the final match. There's just no way you could watch that final match, that crowd, the reactions, the chants, the match itself. There's no way you're watching that and thinking there's any other person that's a better fit for this moment. Like, why would you have I love AJ Styles. I'm glad we got Cena Styles one more time. That's not how you finish a career. Like, you got the big moment, they got the chance, they had one of the matches of the years, and the crowd went crazy, and both guys got celebrated, and it was a great moment. That's not how you finish it. You finish it with the big bad heel because there's going to be boos for one side. It's John Cena's retirement. You got to stick him in there with a heel who's going to get absolutely shit on. And who's the best heel for that? It's the best heel in the world. Like, I've got more rants in me, don't get me wrong, but that was like the first thing that stood out to me. I'm watching this match and I'm like, did you guys want LA Knight getting LA Knight yeah chance during this? Like, no, I want Gunther getting asshole chance and fuck you Gunther chance and like shut the fuck up chance, whatever. Like, that's the fucking scene. That's the electric crowd that you're getting for this big moment. And then when they lose and he rips their heart out, and as I've said before, and I'll say it again, when Gunther gets that win, you can hear a rat piss on cotton. And all of a sudden, 18 to 19,000 people that were screaming their heads off, you could hear a fucking pin drop in there. All because Gunther was the guy.
This was me at the end of that match, doing a little Hulk Hogan to hear all the pins drop, all the rats pissing in the crowd. It was a lot of dead silence after Gunther got that victory, and the way they did it again was perfect as well. And again, mixed reviews, no matter what the outcome could have been. Anything could have happened. It could have been any wrestler in that slot. Cena could have won. Cena could have lost. There was always going to be a vocal minority or a vocal majority that is bitching and complaining, wrong, whatever, And this is one where wrestling is subjective. It's very opinion based. You are wrong if you think this was the wrong call or if you think this was a bad call. I've seen a lot of people talk about Gunther and his age. Why not give it to one of the young guys? He's younger than LA Knight, and also you mentioned AJ Styles. What is he, 48 years old right now? Gunther's 37, 38. He might have 10 more years in the tank. It's not like he's retiring in a year, guys. Like, they didn't give it to the youngest guy. Javon Evans didn't retire John Cena. Sorry. Why would he? Let's be realistic. We love a lot of the talent in WWE right now. We've mentioned in the past, even if not in this podcast or on C2, I would have loved the Carmelo Hayes John Cena match throughout the tour. I would have loved Braun Breaker versus John Cena. If it wasn't going to be Gunther, Braun Breaker is probably your next leading candidate. Look what they're doing with Braun Breaker right now, though. It's not like Braun Breaker is in catering, enjoying some snacks during the show. He's out there doing the main event segment every week about the challenge, CM Punk for the championship. He's A-OK in his other world right now. Carmelo Hayes, again, there's a lot of these matches that could happen through the retirement tour, but that's like pre-retirement match talk, even to me. There was one answer this entire time for who to retire John Cena, and that was Gunther. The whole complaints over the way it went down, too. John Cena doesn't get pinned, and I'm on record saying I kind of wanted him to get pinned. I would have been okay with a pin, but I'm not like opposed to him tapping out. It's all about how you do it and the way they did it. The rear naked choke, Cena smiling, giving up. The never give up attitude died at Saturday night's main event on December 13th, and he gave up. And it's kind of the greatest send off in wrestling history, if you ask me. That was the most like vivid passing of the torch we've maybe ever gotten. A lot of these guys don't get to retire like that. They don't really get a clear passing of the torch. Edge's last match before he retired, Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania, nobody knew he was retiring either until rumors started circulating after. That wasn't like an Edge handing it off to the new guy. Stone Cold, injuries. The Rock leaves for Hollywood. Taker is in a boneyard match with AJ Styles. Like a lot of these legends don't get to retire and actually establish somebody while doing it. And Gunther, I understand, established already. Two-time champion, Intercontinental longest reigning champion, 9,000 day UK title reign. Like, I get it. He's already established. This is how you double down and you create a guy that is essentially the new 24/7 Undertaker streak at WrestleMania. You have the new tribal chief Roman Reigns in Gunther. This is the big bad of WWE. He's going to go on a terrorizing run. He's going to likely win this Rumble. I think he's going to win the championship at WrestleMania. Somewhere in there, if he doesn't win the Rumble, he's retiring Brock along the lines, most likely. And then Gunther is going to have this long title run, be this big bad guy. And when he gets defeated by the uber babyface Carmelo Hayes or Ilya Dragunov or Trick Williams or whoever it is, everybody better come back to this video and comment down below and say, you guys were right. That was the right call because that babyface is going to skyrocket and be the top dog for years to come.
Yeah, it's not impossible we get Gunther AJ at Mania. Like I'm not
Sure.
fully ruling that out, but that
AJ's
doesn't like
last Mania, too.
yeah, exactly. But that doesn't like deter the future of Gunther if he's not winning the championship at Mania because I think he just wins it shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
He's in a spot now where Kaz said it best and you just mentioned it. Like they needed that tribal chief, whatever, that big bad guy. That's really what WWE was lacking because a lot of their best long-term stories, even when they drag on too long, it's about the culmination of them. And like we're still waiting on this culmination of like the judgment day. There were plenty times, look, I love the bloodline. I love the bloodline story. I hold near and dear Mania 40 to my heart. We would all be liars if we sat here saying we didn't have moments where we were like, all right, this is kind of dragging a bit. Like, this has run its course. It's time for Roman to drop a title or whatever. This is the start of that. And the difference is we are already on board with it and we're ready. I don't care if it lasts a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I'm all in on this ungodly run Gunther has to go on. Now it's on WWE to not fuck this up. I do not want, even if it's some distraction loss or count out loss. No, I want the big bad wolf. Like this guy rips out everyone's hearts at every match, every turn. I want like such a ridiculous run where he doesn't wrestle every single week. So it's not like he's got to wrestle so many times and he's going to face the same people over and over again. But every match, he just keeps winning. He keeps winning. Then he gets that title shot. He wins the title, gives the champion a rematch, beats him again. And he becomes that unstoppable guy that Roman was, where we got to the point where the last 4 or 5 opponents of Roman, we were like, all right, this is going to be the guy. Then it wasn't. All right, this might be the guy. All right, Drew's in his home in the UK. Drew might be, nope, not Drew. Cody, it's Mania 39. They're going to, nope. Sammy, it's Elimination Champ. Nope. That's what we need with Gunther. We need the Chad Gable situation, Sami Zayn again, whether Kevin Owens is back, whatever. All these beloved baby faces. Hell, Javon Evans in 2 years, Gunther should still be on this run. And you think, all right, Javon's going to be the guy. No, Javon loses. Whatever. It keeps going. Ilya loses. And it keeps building to that moment in 2 years' time, whatever, where it's like this guy goes on a Hall of Fame type run, retires all of these legends. And it's that much bigger because it really started with him retiring John Cena. I mean, the guy just got interviewed on TMZ. He's mainstream media right now. I'm not paying attention to how many people are commenting on his Instagram post. Like what I'm seeing is Chris Long's podcast, he's getting mentioned. All these other top podcasts, he's getting mentioned. Everyone, the world was watching John Cena, and the world was talking about John Cena tapping out to this guy, Gunther. Now it's on WWE. Don't flub it. Don't mess it up. Have this guy go on an ungodly run. If you want him to get eliminated in the Rumble to set up his Mania match, that's fine. That's a little different. There's easy ways to do it. Outside of that, this has got to be one of the most diabolical win streaks we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't see Gunther lose a match for the next matter of time. Maybe there's a situation where somebody else gets pinned in a match or, triple threat, fatal four way, something like that. But I just don't even see that happening. This is the time to really build Gunther up to be the most dominant name we've maybe ever seen when he's said and done. Again, he's already got a bunch of accolades we just listed off. What's the statistic? He's been a champion 85% of his time in WWE or whatever, like some crazy number. Now you're going to add a potential Rumble win to his trajectory, and even if they don't, okay, sure, that's fine. You're still adding a pretty likely Mania win over an AJ Styles or a Brock Lesnar or somebody of a very high stature. You mentioned a Chad Gable in there. I'm glad you mentioned him. I was going to bring him up. That's another name of like had that potential. Could have been the guy to win the IC title. They could bring us right back to that moment, and Chad Gable down the line could be the guy to take on Gunther, finally beat the big bad and become the babyface, the new Cody Rhodes. You got to think too. That's another guy that isn't 50, but is only got so much time left as well. So in creating this new big bad, you're creating the new babyface, the really pillars of the company for a while. It Everything changes too. Anything could happen. It might be a guy that we don't even know yet. Who knows? Something could happen. Somebody can come up. Anything can happen. John Cena tapping out to Gunther in the final match. The crowd dead silent. Everybody hating on it, hating on it. And I've seen it from people I know, from people I don't know. Oh, John Cena doesn't have to lose his final match. He could have won that match. How many times do we see all these old heads in wrestling? And Cena is the GOAT. I'm not trying to categorize him as one of the old heads, but he retired. It's his retirement match. How many times do we see these old heads in wrestling get title runs or wins and everybody's complaining and complaining and complaining? They want the other person. They want the Fiend to be put over by Goldberg. They want all these other things to happen. And when they don't happen, they complain. So when they do happen this time, they complain. Like it just is a never ending situation. There's never going to be a right. There's always going to be a wrong when it comes to professional wrestling. I can't wrap my head around any other decision. Again, I've seen people say it didn't have to be Gunther. If you're going to have John Cena win, it could have been anybody. I understand wanting to protect Gunther. Well, it was Gunther. We all knew it was going to be Gunther. So why would John Cena beat Gunther? Like, what does that do for Gunther? That just puts him in some weird purgatory after the fact of like, I couldn't retire John Cena. What's next for me? It just wouldn't make any sense at all. That was the end of John Cena. And that was, in quotations, the end of wrestling for a lot of people, sure. It wasn't the literal end of wrestling. There's still forever to go. It's never ending. So there's a story to be told. They got to put some seeds in somewhere. There's a lot of good things happening right now. We've been off the back of saying for the last like 3 months. Survivor Series, Crown Jewel, WrestlePalooza sucked. War Games was goodish, could have been better, sure, but it was a lot of holdover stuff leading to this, the John Cena retirement. Now that we are out of that lull period where there wasn't main PLEs, titles being defended, all that crazy stuff that we want to see, it's Rumble season. Gunther retired John Cena. He's got the accolade. It's free right now. It's free reign. Anything could happen in wrestling.
Talking about John Cena should have won. I've seen so many people say John Cena should have won his last match. John Cena deserved to win his last match. I love John Cena. I cannot stress how much I love the guy. I'm, legit crying at his retirement. Like I'm, tears in my eyes, heartbroken that his career is over. Let's not sit here and act like the only way like that's appropriate is John Cena winning his last match, as if this isn't a 17-time champion, a multiple time Rumble winner, Money in the Bank winner. He just, his last WrestleMania main evented and won the championship. Don't get me wrong, this guy deserved everything he got. Like, I am not going to sit here and act like he was just, oh, he got all of these moments because he's lucky or anything. Like, this guy earned it all. This is a guy who is like about the business and gets the business. I feel like he would almost, I don't want to say feel weird if he won that match, but he'd probably be like, why am I winning this match? You're telling me the guy who didn't even want to go on last offered to go on first. The guy who wanted the NXT wrestlers to be a part of his show. They said it was straight up his idea. They wanted it to just be John Cena versus the tournament winner, and the entire show is going to be a celebration to him. And he said, no, we should showcase NXT people. So the guy's so focused on the future would be the one petitioning to win his last match and not help the future? Like, do we not realize how that makes zero sense? People are like, Cena should have never, he should have never listened to Triple H, blah, blah, blah. First of all, you don't know these people. You're not in these meetings. You don't know whose decision it was. You don't know whose idea it was. You know what they tell you. You know what they see, like you see. You don't know these things. Stop acting like you know all these things. Oh, Triple H, this is you're the big bad. How do you know? Like you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. As much as they show us behind the scenes, you still don't know everything. So the fact that everyone's sitting here acting as if like this was some travesty against John Cena, as if Cena doesn't have any say and he's like held against his will and is so anti future of WWE. Like, wake up, people.
Wake up. I've seen people that are very high up in media and entertainment and wrestling and all sorts of, avenues. Nobody wanted to see this. Nobody wanted to see John Cena lose his final match. I did. Okay.
Me,
We did. C2 Wrestling did. A lot of people did. People that understand. I'm not trying to like put us on some high horse here because we're just dudes. Like that's that, like we're nothing special. But people that really understand wrestling wanted Gunther to win that match, are happy Gunther won that match, understand why he did. And I got to bring this up too because I meant to talk about this already, but I think the greatest hypocrisy of this all, which is so comical to me, is the idea that people are complaining that John Cena lost the match. He should have won. John Cena should have won after all the years of Wade Barrett, of Rey Mysterio, of so on and so on and so on, of Cena stealing wins, putting these guys down, not giving other people their moment to shine. Back in Cena's prime, people were bitching. Oh my God, John Cena. Cena sucks. No more of that. I'm in the belief that Wade Barrett should have won the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley should have won the WWE Championship at Great American Bash, so on and so forth, and they didn't. And it's fine. Now that his time is over, he's in the stage of putting people over. He was the guy back then. He was being put over. Now he's doing that to others, and people are complaining. It's ass backwards to me. I'm not saying you had to love it back then when he beat Ray for the title on Raw 30 minutes after Ray won it. That sucked. Yeah, I get it. But it's hypocritical to like shit on that, but then also shit on this when he absolutely should have lost this match in the fashion he did, even in some alternate world where it wasn't Gunther. Gunther was hurt, which he wasn't hurt, but there was some sort of nose injury or something he had, maybe a minor surgery. I don't really know. Post SummerSlam, that's the whole write off idea, I believe, as long as that's all truthful. Who knows what you read nowadays? But what if that just was extended a little bit longer and Gunther couldn't have been the guy to retire John Cena? If it was Braun Breaker, if it was Carmelo or Ilya or Trick or whoever the fuck it could have been, John Cena still loses that match and should still lose that match. The complaints would be the same if anybody else beat him. The complaints would be the same, just the opposite, if Cena won. Guaranteed.
so I texted our boy Joe, shout out Joe, the legend himself, the biggest John Cena fan ever. I mean, we're talking every day in high school he was wearing a different color Cena shirt. When like the cliche like he was it before it was cool. He was the diehard Cena fan before being a diehard Cena fan was cool. Like as can be. I texted him because he went to the show.
Yes.
Before the show, I texted him at like noon, told him I was happy that he was going, and I said, sadly though, Gunther's gonna make Cena tap out. And he responded, "No, I fully accepted Cena's tapping out. Like
Mhm.
he went in there. This is the biggest John Cena fan I know, and he's like, oh yeah, I fully accepted. Like Gunther's tapping him out. The writing is on the wall that John Cena is going to tap out. It story wise, all of it. Why wouldn't it end that way? Like, what are you? Why would you even bring that up? Why would you even establish that? Just in my mind, as soon as they brought it up, any finish that wasn't Cena tapping out hurts Gunther in a bit. Even if he put Cena unconscious, I would have been like, ah, he didn't fulfill his word. He said he was going to make Cena tap out. He should have switched to an ankle lock. He should have switched to an arm bar, something that would have made him tap instead of putting him to sleep, whatever. Cena had to tap out as soon as they mentioned that, but he also had to tap out because that's the story of his career and that's how we go. Like that is the ultimate, as you mentioned, passing in the guard. What he used to be so great at, he doesn't have it anymore. For 20 years, he didn't tap out. But now he's 20 years older. He doesn't have that in him anymore. He is defeated. He is a little bit weaker. These younger guys are stronger. They are faster, whatever. And he did go out until the last second, fighting multiple times, breaking out of it multiple times, the never give up spirit, whatever. And he just had to tap out. I watched it and I'm like, this is perfect.
Perfect.
This truly is perfect. I don't even know how else they could have done it better. Like the stuff after, whatever, if you want to critique that or how it was done or all of that, that I almost don't even care about because honestly, it's more so when Cena goes into the Hall of Fame, that's when that stuff really means something to me. You know, how's the video packages? How do they roll out the red carpet? Is he a class of one? Is it him and just two other people? Whatever. That's a little bit different. But the match itself, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. It really was, and again, you kind of bring it up there towards the end of that. There was complaints about not only the match, but the post-match, celebration or goodbye, if you want to put it that way. And what are we complaining about, guys? My mind is blown in like the wrestling sphere every day. There's always a complaint out there or something that like blows my mind because it's so ludicrous or just
Luda.
ridiculous. Yeah, I just can't wrap my head around it. But Cena, okay, people wanted him to pass out and not give up. So why? Why would he like? What's the point in that? That doesn't. It's Cena's life as a wrestler has surpassed him, and that was like that little minor story being told in this retirement run. How many little interviews has he done as of late where I can't keep up anymore? I'm not the same. I'm getting older. This, that. His time was now. His time is up. It's that simple. He gave up in a professional wrestling match, guys. Okay. Like, come on. He didn't really give up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that deep. After the match, he obviously stands tall, looking a little sad. Everybody comes ringside after Cena does some chanting. Punk and Cody put the titles on him. Triple H gets up on the apron, points to the screen. I do also got to mention all the people in that crowd. The crowd was great until that moment. When you got Triple H on the apron, everyone starts booing and shit. Like, why are we ruining this moment? Like, you make the moment worse. You make it mean a little less. There's no reason to be doing any of that. Triple H points to the screen. They run that video package. Thank you, Cena. Incredible package. That was like the most heartbreaking thing of all time was that package. Cena has his goodbyes, doesn't cut a promo or nothing, but he leaves. And you said it yourself, the Hall of Fame. Like that wasn't supposed to be the moment, in my opinion, where Cena grabs the mic and has an hour-long speech. He's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame on the sooner side. That is not a guy that they're going to wait 35 years to induct him. This isn't Hillbilly Jim. This is John Cena. They're going to put him in the Hall of Fame in probably the next 2 to 3 years, if not literally this WrestleMania. Who knows? He'll have that time then. That will be the final, like, John Cena is going to have a 2 hour long speech talking to everybody about everything, thanking everybody. That will be the moment that people wanted at the end of Saturday Night's Main Event at the Hall of Fame. That's where it should be. I really just can't get it. I can't, there's not a single thing about that match as a whole, the way it was set up, the ending to it, the post match goodbye. I can't wrap my head around complaining about a single ounce of it. You guys want like intricate storytelling. You guys want things in wrestling to happen, and they're making something happen here with a guy like Gunther becoming, as we've repeated at this point, this big bad. What else is there to ask for? I can't understand it.
The funniest part to me is there's just so clearly other things on this show to complain about.
Yeah.
And like there's been little complaints, but like Oba Cody being like 7 minutes long or whatever the hell it was. Ridiculous. The tag match being as short as it was, like ridiculous. Like they could have done the the no finish in Oba Cody. Ridiculous. Like they could have done so much more with those three other matches that they were barely even there were commercial breaks longer than some of them. Like that's where your complaint should be. That you do this whole focus on we're getting the NXT talent showcased, whatnot, and you almost like half-heartedly do. Like there's that to me actually annoyed me. That was where I was like, what the fuck? Oba had this massive moment to shine, and it was like cut so short, and they don't even have a finish to the match. Like they couldn't even let him win with Drew's help. They had to have it be a DQ where he technically loses on top of it. Like that's where your complaint should go. The Cena, everything revolving around Cena, I think was just perfect. And you said it best. I've seen plenty of people say, "Oh, that crowd deserved the pop and the celebration of Cena winning. Like they deserved that." Like, what do you mean they got to see John Cena's last match? They celebrated him the entire match. They were behind him the entire match. You got to rip their hearts out. You got to make them loathe this guy Gunther, because now all of them, like they should want the feeling where they wouldn't piss on him if he's on fire. Like he just broke their hearts. He just ruined their fun. He ruined the night. He farted in the elevator. He was that guy. He fucked everything up for them. Then after they still got the video package, the entire roster comes out, they give cheers, whatever. Like there was still a little bit of celebration, but he's gonna go into the Hall of Fame. He does fan expos plenty. Like he's not going to Mars, okay? Like he's gonna be around. Relax.
Yeah, relax is the key word. Like, chill out, calm down, guys. It's really like I understand it's the biggest retirement in wrestling history, really, but it's almost not that deep. It's just not that deep. The complaining again in just the world of wrestling, it's always something. So I expected it to happen. Don't get me wrong, but it is a little bit more than I thought we would see for what seemed like such the obvious right call, right move with Gunther, with John Cena. If you want to shit on the retirement tour as a whole, go for it. There's a couple of highlights, there's a lot of low points. I get it. I think they get it too. They understand where they went wrong. Cena's on interviews saying he wanted to do 220 dates or something like that, and they said we only need you for 36. Mistake number one. All right. You should have had him do as much as he wanted to do. I get it. But they didn't, and it is what it is. They ended on a high note. I really look back at like the golden era of wrestling, those like 70s, 80s, early 90s, where people hated the heels. Yokozuna was despised back in the day. And that's what I want Gunther to become. The crowd as a whole, yeah, we deserve to see Cena win his last match. We don't deserve shit. We don't deserve anything. We're just fans. We don't deserve anything. We also just got a 23-year career out of this guy. We've got what we've deserved. We don't need anything extra from it. We deserve to have good storytelling, and that's what we're getting off the back of this. Hopefully, again, it is on WWE, as you said earlier, to not fuck it up. So we'll see where they go with all of it. A lot of the kids in the crowd, you sent me a clip earlier, TikTok, of a kid crying at the end of the Gunther tap out victory. And, it warmed my heart, to be honest. It really does. Kids are crying out there. And listen, I understand it from a kid's perspective. When I was a kid, I wanted Jeff Hardy to be fucking 95-time WWE champion. You want those uber baby faces to win everything. You really hate the heels because you're 7 years old. You can't separate it like you can when you're an adult. The good guys are good. Even the bad guys that are the greatest wrestlers are shit because you're a kid, and you don't understand it in that sense. When it comes to the kids, if that's the audience you're talking about, oh, we should be pleasing the kids, this, that, you're 7. You don't even know John Cena. You got the tail end of him wrestling like twice a year. Okay. Like, relax. We grew up with him. That was for us. All right. That was for the like 20, like the 25 to like 35-year olds. That was for our generation, not these young kids, not anybody that's super old. They're like, it's just a lot. It's so much to talk about. I feel like this whole podcast and next week's podcast could be about John Cena, his retirement tour, the match itself with Gunther. I'm really looking forward to what comes off the back of it. The right
I
call was made.
sorry, I
You're
started to
good.
cut you
Yep.
off.
You're good.
Uh,
Just don't
I
do it
got a
again, but it's okay.
yeah. Don't tell me what to do. I got a question for you.
Okay.
In the last few years, what are some of the biggest moments in, we'll say WWE? What are some of the biggest moments where it was like kids left crying, audience speechless, like so jarring that they have this reaction from the crowd? Like what are some of those moments?
I mean, the obvious and like I've seen people talking about it after the fact of the main event, and they didn't realize until they were talking about it in that moment. But in the moment of Cena tapping out, my mind went to the streak obviously ending because the crowd reaction hasn't been like that since the streak. It's never been dead silence. The streak was even more silent, to be fair. Like that was you could hear rats pissing on cotton 10 miles down the road, let
Yeah.
alone in that arena when the streak ended. But that was the most similar experience, kids crying,
I
things
thought
like
of
that.
three.
Okay, man, off the top of my head, I don't even know if I could really like think of any. Maybe Cody was pretty over going in the 39. That's probably one of them where people were upset. But I think that was more like I don't know if kids were crying as much as adults were just being pissy for no reason. But that comes to mind. Outside of that, the alternate world where Jey Uso lost at Mania 41, maybe.
So the three that I thought of was the streak ending,
Yeah,
Cody losing to Roman, Roman
39.
retaining 39, and the Cena heel turn,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it was this ungodly, shocking, kids crying reaction type thing. So that's what we're comparing it to. Let's think of the names that we're talking about here in that. Streak ending, we're talking about Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Roman retaining at 39, we're talking about Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. John Cena's heel turn, we're talking about John Cena, Cody Rhodes, The Rock. That big moment. Gunther's now in that category. Like, do we not understand that massive moment when people are like, oh, well, he didn't need it? He just got a moment that's, we're comparing to Hall of Famers, all time greats. Like, what do you mean he didn't need it? We have always looked at Gunther as like one of those guys. That doesn't mean everybody else has. His moment, this massive moment, this magic moment, even him retiring Goldberg, like it was the most obvious thing. It wasn't, we didn't expect anything crazy. The match was what it was, yada, yada. It elevated Gunther a little bit, but it didn't take him to this whole new galaxy that making John Cena tap out does. Like that is the elevation. And that's where I go back a few weeks ago when we were talking about who was going to win this tournament. And yeah, it would be cool if Obafemi won, or it would be cool if a Carmelo Hayes was in this spot or whatever. But man, the jump it would be for some of those guys. Gunther, don't get me wrong, this is a big jump. It's an even bigger jump for all of them. For him, he's now in that next level. He has now reached that next level, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it. With guys like Roman doesn't seem to be going anywhere necessarily, but he's minimal, and he's not the champion. It's not a 1,000-day title reign anymore. Brock Lesnar, not much time left. Taker ain't around anymore. You need a guy that can be that focal point of who and how do we beat this guy and when will it happen? Who will it be? It would have been a jump for Carmelo Hayes to retire Cena. We are stands of Carmelo Hayes as well. I've said many times that dude is the most total package in a long time. It would have been the wrong choice for him to retire John Cena. Yeah, maybe you have to rewind 3 years ago if you want to like build a story properly for Carmelo to be the guy, but you're erasing too much now. Gunther was established enough to get the win and become the next big bad. Carmelo Hayes, who hasn't held a championship outside of NXT championships, if he were to just retire Cena and then what, go into a US title feud, like what would that do for anybody? Goes into the WWE championship feud? Okay, yeah, maybe that makes more sense, sure. But he's skipping a lot of rungs there to be like in the same playing field as maybe the main eventers, sure, but retiring John Cena is bigger than being a main eventer. We're on record also saying before the main event, before John Cena retirement match came up, that is bigger than winning the IC title. That is bigger than winning the championship, winning it at WrestleMania. Retiring John Cena is the accolade of all accolades. One guy gets to do that, and I'm so fucking glad it was our boy Gunther.
Absolutely. And now when we look towards the future, just truly so great. Everything he does, like the guy is a comedic genius. He is so damn funny without even trying. Now, when we start looking at Mania, like, look, I love the Gunther Styles tease, and I'm almost a little bit torn on it
Me too.
because I do think we get Gunther probably retiring Styles. Like, we are working on an ungodly run for him. But at the same time, it's like, all right, he's the former two-time world heavyweight champion. The last big PLE that he was involved in was SummerSlam, and he was the night one main event against CM Punk. Then he's in the mix and now faces John Cena and retires John Cena. It's a bit of a tough sell for me if he's facing Styles and it's the second to last match on night one of WrestleMania or opens the show night one or night two. Like, it's a bit of a tough sell. I don't want to say they've put themselves in a pickle, but you do kind of water him down a little bit if he's not at the very least main event night one of Mania. Like, I think this is why we both are on board. Like, win the Rumble, face Cody at Mania, night one main event. Hell, it could be night two, that'd be great, but probably night one, world title, whatever they do there is night two main event. That's kind of how it has to go because it immediately feels lesser for him. We love Jey Uso, but we can't have the Jey Uso story. We can't have the American Alpha a few weeks story. Like, no, he's entered that new level now that you kind of have to handle with care because you have to now look at it as this is a great spot. Facing AJ Styles is fantastic, especially AJ's last Mania match. Is it going to main event WrestleMania night one? No. Then don't do it. Don't do it. Have it be Atlanta gets a PLE and Styles' last show, Bad Blood, whatever, and that's where it happens. Something along those lines. Don't force it into Mania thinking, all right, we're gonna have him face him here. Well, Gunther's gotta be in the main event mix. So either he faces Styles in the main event, or if you so badly are like, we need him to open the show, then he's got to face like a Brock. He's got to face
Yeah.
someone that's so big that it doesn't matter that he's not closing the show. The opponent's name is so massive that it doesn't matter where it is on the card.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. This whole Gunther situation right now, Styles, anybody that's kind of in that mix, it is a bit handled with care in the Christmas spirit. This is a fragile situation.
That
Gunther,
must be Italian.
yeah, it must be Italian. Yeah, Gunther finds himself in an interesting spot where I am a bit indifferent on a potential Styles feud because there's a lot of factors. Styles is a tag team champion right now too. So okay, you gotta do something with that then in that world. Styles is on this retirement run of his own. I would love Styles to get a world heavyweight title run before his time is up. That is actually like on my, if I was in creative, how do I write in a AJ Styles championship run before his time is up? Not that he has to lose the title in his last match, whatever, but I got to see him with one more championship. I don't think he's gonna beat Gunther for the title, so he would almost have to like win the title before Gunther did. There's another championship, sure. I almost more so see Styles being retired by a Braun Breaker, maybe. You know, maybe Styles wins the belt in some fashion there. Braun wins it from Styles down the line. Who knows? Whatever. But another guy that's just kind of like in the mix. We talk about Gunther winning the Rumble, gets Cody at Mania. Is Orton just getting snubbed this year? You know, like it's kind of now or never with the Orton Cody feud, it feels like, because they've been kind of hinting at it. Fatu's been written off. He comes back. We've talked about Fatu Orton. That's probably the substitute if you're going to run Cody Gunther. But when do you run the Cody Orton feud then? Or do you ever at that point? That seems like it has to happen. Orton, another guy, doesn't have 20 years in the tank. So you got to get to it if you're going to get to it. You mentioned it as well. The only person Gunther could face at Mania that keeps him level without it being a main event championship match is Brock Lesnar. If it's not Cody versus Gunther, it has to be Gunther versus Brock. I also don't know if that's going to happen though, because Minnesota SummerSlam. Why would that not be Brock's retirement? I'm not saying I want it to be necessarily, but I also like don't feel like there's a whole lot left for Brock. You know, AJ Styles, if he physically can go, AJ can stay forever. I don't give a fuck. Brock Lesnar, I like Brock. He's a great wrestler. He's obviously one of the best to ever do it. Say what you will about him. Brock loses to Gunther, and like, then what for Brock? Yeah, maybe there's like a breaker match in there somewhere, sure, but like, there's just not a whole lot left for Brock. Gunther retires him at SummerSlam, defending the championship. Then Gunther is really established. Goldberg, Cena won the Rumble, beat Cody at WrestleMania, retires Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Who can beat this guy?
So I am a little, I've kind of taken a little bit of a step back on Gunther retiring Brock,
Mm-hmm.
just because I don't think it gets him the heat that they're working with. Like him retiring
Yes.
Styles does. I almost feel like Brock is now sliding more, maybe a Braun Breaker, maybe an Oba Femi or something like that. Someone who's kind of in the tweener or actually babyface for his final match. Not saying Gunther wouldn't benefit from it, but if we're really focusing on like getting this guy the most amount of booze possible, getting, almost like damn near riots in the streets, I don't know if him beating Brock does it. But I did do a little temple tap while you were talking about Gunther Styles. I have a little bit of a fantasy booking. You know, this
Okay.
is this is kind of where I'm at. I don't want Gunther Styles at Mania.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be upset if it happens, but I don't want it. I want Gunther to win the Rumble. I want him to face Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, and I want him to beat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. I want this past Monday, Styles being in Gunther's way. That's the little seed. Maybe we do get a Styles Gunther one-on-one match at like the Chamber or something like that before a title's involved. And Gunther beats him. Styles isn't retired yet. He's not out yet. But we get that initial matchup. And now Gunther is the champ. And now we've got people like you and I who are like, man, I would love one last Styles title run. He can't go out without getting one more. Oh, but he can, because if there's ever a guy to rip that from everybody who wants to see that one last moment, we get Gunther versus AJ Styles. AJ, you want this title match? I've already beaten you. You want this title match? You got it. But you're putting your career on the line. Championship versus career. And everyone, there's that piece of all of us. They're going to give Styles just one little last push with the title. It's the same thing that we've been hearing about Balor's strong singles run. They're gonna do it. They're gonna give him that one last little run. And then Gunther rips everybody's hearts out. And he stands there and still and has retired AJ Styles, and Styles is done. And we never do get that last Styles title run. Why? Because the big bad wolf has the championship now, and he's unbeatable. And we love Styles, and we wanted to see Styles get that last run, but he ain't the guy.
He's definitely not the guy to beat Gunther, unfortunately. I really would love the Styles title run. Again, maybe if that happens, it's in the other title picture. But I can absolutely see that playing out pretty much how you put it down. Right when you kind of started pitching that, it had me thinking like, you know, Styles and Dragon Lee lose the tag titles in the next month or two, whatever. Rumble, Gunther wins. Gunther's the guy to the night after the Rumble, if not literally in the ring after he wins, grabs a microphone. I want that championship. I'm coming for it. Gunther's not the guy that you have wait until post chamber to pick his title. He knows what he wants. He's confident. He should immediately select, maybe not Cody Rhodes. He could lose the title prior, but that championship. What if Styles kind of stays in the mix, and that's the matchup at the chamber? Gunther versus Styles one on one. If Styles wins, he gets in the title match, and it's a triple threat. And you have the fans want it. The fans want Styles. We hate Gunther right now. We hate him. So they want Styles. Gunther shuts it down, and then Styles is down and out. Like this is the end for me. Like I don't have it anymore. The age is hitting him too. And, they can kind of play out that Styles storyline going into Mania, post Mania, of him not really having it. Maybe that can lead to an eventual underdog last title win for AJ Styles against a Braun Breaker or something like that. But regardless, I love John Cena. I love AJ Styles. I love all these guys. I want Gunther to retire all of them. I want Gunther to beat every one of them all the time, every week here on out. No problem. Gunther is my guy. I do agree as well with Brock. I don't think the Brock retirement via Gunther like hits the same nerve that Brock retiring Cena does. So I don't know if I 100% see that happening. But it's still like he's still a leading contender to really do it though. I would love an Oba Femi. That's the torch has already been passed from Cena to Gunther. If they signed it on for Gunther to beat Brock retiring, I'm for it. If they said we're not going to do that, we're going to go the Oba Femi route, I'm for it. That makes sense to me too. I don't quite know. Brock might not be done at SummerSlam. Who knows? I thought he was done after the Cody trilogy, if we're being honest, and he's back, so it can continue. Gunther, though, man, I've really like we've both been saying this forever now. The Sammy Rumble win kind of died off. Sammy was so hot for a minute, and it's Saudi and everything. It really seemed like Sammy was coming. He's still up there in the list of like contenders. Gunther, it's Gunther, and then there's a massive, massive gap, and then there's everybody else down low. How can it not be Gunther? Brock's the only answer, but I don't know if that even does it for me. Gunther, people hate the obvious Rumble wins. I understand that, but storytelling, when done right, is good. And this is the moment. Gunther has to win the Rumble.
If we're being honest, I think it kind of sets up for Gunther and Sammy being the last two, and Gunther eliminates Sammy, and the
Absolutely.
Saudis boo the fuck out of him.
Boo the fuck out of him.
I think
Gunther's
it
got to
kind of
leave
like,
real quick. He's got to get the
yeah,
fuck out of there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's kind of like, I'm, if I had to place my bets, even though that might be the strongest odds, that to me is like, because as you mentioned, for the longest time, Sammy has had what felt like the best Rumble odds, given where the Rumble is and given how hot he is. Well, now, if you're really just focused on getting heat on this monster, he's still got to get his revenge on Sammy for Sammy beating him at Mania. What better way than in Saudi Arabia, where Sammy is beloved and they think this Rumble is here because Sami Zayn is winning it in the main event, and he gets tossed out by Gunther, and Gunther standing tall, and they're booing the shit out of him. That to me is magnificent.
So good.
That's the perfect ending to the Rumble, because now you're even furthering the worldwide hatred for Gunther. Like, we're not just talking about the little kids in the US. We're talking globally. They hate this guy.
Yeah, that really would just set Gunther on a stronger path to being this big bad heel, beating the fan favorite baby faces, and they have a lot of time to build up a AJ Styles again to be like in a career versus title match and be retired by Gunther. They have a lot of time to get there and make it even more meaningful when Gunther shuts down all the fans, shut down AJ Styles, and so on. Eliminating Sammy final two. I mean, if I were a betting man, we'll probably have a pool coming. You know, like that's where I'd put my money realistically. Who else would Gunther eliminate last? Like, who else would that be? You know, Braun Breaker has a great chance of winning the Rumble too if he's not champion post the match on Raw. But that's the biggest, like, oh my God, would be cheering for Sammy and Gunther throws him over and the crowd goes silent like they did at Saturday Night's main event. I just am and always have been, but I am on board this Gunther train right now, and I am loving every minute of it. Every little cry I see online, every complaint just makes me happier. It makes me so much happier. Oh my God. I just can't love it enough.
It's so great. I truly like absolutely love it. As a Gunther Stan account, we're thriving right now. I don't think we've ever been more up. Like truly, this is just we're on top of the world. And what makes it even better is we're also Theory Hive here. We've been Austin Theory believers for a long time. And there's plenty of people out there that want to pretend that they weren't shitting on Theory for a long period of time, but it wasn't us. And we got the return of Austin Theory this past Monday. They do the Masked Man reveal. It was him. There's rumors there might be other people, there might not be other people, but right now, as we know it, Raw has ended. Austin Theory unmasked wasn't standing with Division, so it's not a full blown. This guy is in the faction. We figured it was coming. We have a little bit of a different look for him. He's got a shaved head. The beard's a little bit tighter. Looking a little pale, not as tan. Normally he's got a nice little tan going. I know it's the winter time, but I am glad to see him back. I'm very excited for what they may do. It does feel with the large growing people that, you know, even when it's predictable, they still get up in arms. Even when it's predictable and good, they still get up in arms. WWE's got to capitalize and be smart with this because we love Theory, but I could see them kind of dragging some stuff, kind of dragging their heels on this and losing a bit of the fans on this. Like they need, if he's going to be in the Vision, they got to get cooking right now.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the supposed eventual babyface run for Theory was looking like it was going to be hot too. So to keep him heel is a bold choice. Makes me think they have a plan, you know, and they know what they're doing. They also War Games was booked a while out. I don't think the night prior to War Games they were like, "Hey, let's have Austin Theory interfere." They knew what they were doing for a while. So this has been on the books for a minute now. Theory, as you said, you know, he's not really in the Vision quite yet. It seems Logan didn't know he was coming to help. They didn't know he was coming at War Games. He almost reads as like a Paul Heyman hired gun, perhaps. Maybe it's somebody else is doing. Maybe it's Seth Rollins hired gun. You know, maybe he's infiltrating the Vision. Maybe he's not really in the Vision. We'll see where they go exactly. I would like it either way. I'm kind of open in this where have him join the Vision, be heel, killer faction. Have him kind of be double agent infiltrating the Vision. Maybe he's a Seth Rollins guy, and Seth Rollins is a whole new stable. And then that's how it turns out at the end of this. It's Braun Breaker and Bronson, and maybe Logan sticks around versus a Seth, a Theory, and Carmelo. Who knows? You know, somebody else joins in that side. I don't know. They do need to get moving with it. I'm glad they revealed him and they didn't really make us wait another 4 weeks or whatever the fuck it is. I wanted them to reveal him the Raw after War Games, if I'm being honest. I like the reveal. The mask moment where he just pulls off that mask in the crowd. I don't think people realize if this plays out well, like that's an iconic moment. You know, the Shield debut is iconic because the Shield ended up being one of the greatest factions ever. If they ended up being the 3MB, we wouldn't look back at that Shield moment. If this Theory iteration, if this Vision program right now turns out to be great stuff, we're always going to look back at that moment like an iconic unmasking, even though we all knew it was theory. It's a great moment in history of wrestling.
It's me, Austin.
It's me all along.
Except it's,
It's you, Austin. Yeah.
except it's a like a comma. It's me, comma,
Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I would love a lot of directions that they could go with this. Whether it is a Seth Rollins' little secret spy, and it's a keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and he kind of is infiltrating the Vision, gonna build their trust up, so they kind of think he's one of them. Maybe even get a tag title run, whatever, until Rollins comes back and Theory spills all their secrets and now has like their little Achilles heel, whatever. I would be down for that. I'd be down if he was just in the Vision. If it was just he's a part of the faction now. There's a lot of ways this can go. There's also a lot of bad ways this can go where they kind of drag it out. And look, I love Ray and Logan's obviously great. I don't need 2 more months of Ray facing Logan. Like that's we've seen it plenty. We need kind of that little mix up of freshness. Now that Theory's involved, obviously Punk is facing Braun Breaker for the championship, but Punk should have a little bit of beef with Theory in this Masked Man, and Roman should have a little bit of beef with Theory as the Masked Man, and maybe there is a second Masked Man, and that person is also a part of the plans with Theory, or maybe this entire time it's been Braun Breaker who's been the mastermind behind this, and Heyman feels like he's starting to lose a little bit of trust with Braun Breaker, whatever. There's a lot of ways that this can go. It is a little bit interesting though, timeline wise, because these next two Raws really aren't going to be crazy. Now that they might not be bad shows, but it's the holiday shows. Like these are always tough spots. Like they're the next one's taped. And then is the following one January 5th? What I don't even know how
I
the
don't know.
time roughly in that area,
It's
but it's
probably a New
still
Year's one in there somewhere.
yeah, it's still I think it's January 28th would be the next one. Maybe that one's live. Um, in that
December
ballpark.
20th. Yeah.
Or December 20th. Sorry,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh, but these next two shows are kind of in rough spots from a combination of the holidays, big football games going on. So, not that I'm shocked or like sad that they did it here, but January 5th is where it's like really got to pick up. I am a little surprised they did it here, knowing you're probably going to get a little bit of a drop off these next two Raws. Now, I'm glad they did and they didn't drag it out, but I'm kind of shocked they didn't just drag it out and wait till January 5th. And almost in a weird way, makes me kind of heighten the odds that CM Punk wins on January 5, just because if you're going to have Theory join the group and reveal himself, why wouldn't you just do it 3 weeks later when you're past the holiday at this big show? Like, what's 3 more weeks of a taped show and whatnot? You could have had 1 or 2 more run-ins as the Masked Man. I'm glad they didn't,
Hmm.
but kind of makes me lean a little bit towards maybe Punk does retain here.
Yeah, I'm really not opposed to it. I feel like a lot of people have been on the Braun Breaker train, rightfully so. The guy's fantastic. I have said this before, I'll say it again. Braun Breaker winning his first championship on a Monday Night Raw just like kind of doesn't do it for me. Maybe I'm old school in that sense, and it is against CM Punk, don't get me wrong, but Braun Breaker should win that title, his first championship, in a bigger moment, a bigger event. They have heads tuned in right now. Maybe some people fall off and they watch John Cena just for John Cena. But January 5th might have some heads tuning in more than normal. So maybe they want to make a moment for Braun Breaker. It would be a bigger moment at WrestleMania, though. He's kind of the guy that should do it at a Mania or a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series. He should get his big first championship win in a larger stage. I don't know, though. The theory reveal coming now does maybe add a little bit more to the odds of CM Punk winning. How it happens, maybe Theory goes to help the Vision, goes to help Braun, but like Bronson and Logan aren't really having it because they don't know like where Theory's really at, and that causes some distraction. I mean, I see a world of Ray coming out and fucking I don't know. Jay's maybe in his own little thing now, which is good, but like Maybe there's some more backup for Punk down the line. I don't quite know. I am very intrigued by where they're going. January 1, 2.
I do think with the Usos being back in the tag team division, though, it does heighten the odds of them getting the titles
And
and
losing
facing
them,
the
yes.
Vision and that being a Mania match or some sort of combination of those tag teams. I'm not I'm not against it obviously, but I'm not sold that that isn't kind of a piece to the larger puzzle
Yep.
of them being back together. So Jimmy and Jay somewhat being pulled away from the Vision, to me it almost feels like this might be a little bit of a slingshot. Like it feels like they're being pulled away, but they're actually just going to be going even deeper into the story with the Vision, which is a bit of a risk because we've already seen this going for a little bit. But with the tag titles, at least it's something different. At least it's got a new twist to it. So maybe it keeps us more invested in it.
Yeah, it might be a slightly different layer too, because maybe it's Logan and Theory, or it's Theory and Bronson. Maybe it's a little bit of a twist to the feuds we've seen within Jay and the Vision right now. Adding Theory is an extra layer, so I can see refreshment there. Theory might be the single star. If he joins the Vision, it could be Bronson, it could be Logan. Logan kind of hinted wanting the IC title. Who knows? I'm looking forward to it though. January 5th, we are already on the Rumble build, but January 5th will really set in stone the Rumble plans, I think. And then from there on, it really is we're in that slingshot to WrestleMania, baby.
Where Gunther becomes the WWE champion. And I can't wait. You know why they're going back to Vegas? Because they're going to right the wrong of Gunther. They're going back to the scene of the crime, giving him the win, the match he should have never lost, the greatest to ever do it. From the official Gunther Stan account, CTD and Snowden, subscribe or you are a coward. 5 fingers up.